Getting into Bitcoin is extremely difficult, and that is why so many people are into crypto and not nearly as many are into Bitcoin. If you've been looking into Bitcoin for more than a couple of weeks, a month, you've probably started watching podcasts, you've probably read some articles, maybe a book or two. There are probably questions that you've had, and you've gone to look for the answers, and you probably found those answers, or those answers led to more questions, which led to more answers, which led to more questions. And there's a good chance that you've realized that there's way more going on with Bitcoin than just an investment, just a thing to trade your fiat for. Whereas with crypto, if you've spent any amount of time looking at those things, there are promises aplenty. Bitcoin doesn't promise anything. There's no promise that you're going to get rich. There's no promise of allowing you to connect your phone to your appliances, which will then be wrapped in a contract, which you then can send to a plastic manufacturer, which will then get you a VIP pass to certain clubs that has a monkey logo out front or anything like that at all. The thing about Bitcoin is that it seems very difficult at first glance, and it is. And if you're coming at it with curiosity and questions, and you're wondering, how will it get shut down? Can it get shut down? How can I know for certain that it's me that's in control of it and not some Bob Bojangle down in the Bahamas? These are all wonderful questions to ask, and they all have answers. That's the great thing. There is nothing in Bitcoin that ends with the answer of, hey, just trust me, bro. What you find with Bitcoin is that even though it is so simple on a surface level, it's money for anyone everywhere, there's a lot that goes into that. You first have to understand what money is, and that's a whole research project on its own. In today's video, I'm going to be going over a few different things that on the surface can seem quite easy, quite simple, but when you do the research on any one of them, there is so much more than meets the eye. The first thing to talk about here is cooking. When you go to the grocery store, making an informed decision about what you should put in your body seems like it's really easy. You can go up and find a bag of chips, a jar of sauce, and a can of something delicious to drink, and you're off to the races. You got yourself a meal. But what is actually in any of those products? Yes, you could sit there and read the list, but is that what's actually in there? And in some cases, do you even know what those things are? It might have some coloring. It might have some weird things that you can't even pronounce that look like chemicals because they are chemicals. When you buy a thing of ginger, you know that the only thing in ginger is ginger. If you buy an onion, you know that the only thing there is an onion. You can get some water and know with a pretty high degree of accuracy that it's just water, especially if you've filtered it. And then you can do all sorts of different things with those ingredients, like this fella is doing here. He's making himself a delicious meal. It's easy to go to the store and be bamboozled by some fancy labels and bright packaging or dim packaging, dull, muted colors, because that's what connotes it's earth-friendly and healthy and organic, and maybe it is, but you have to remember that all of these things that are sold on a shelf are meant to catch your eye. Back when I was a kid, there was a show on TV called Reading Rainbow. LeVar Burton would go to different places. He'd talk to you about puppets or airplanes or dinosaur museums, different things. I don't remember any exact episodes, but that was the idea. But the one thing I do remember extremely clearly is an episode where he was talking about the placement of different types of cereal. He was saying that the sugary cereal is right there at eye level, right where kids are going to see it. Down there, low is where the lower end cereals are, the store brand stuff, the things that are in a bag already, so it doesn't matter that much if you bump it because there's not a box to be damaged. And then the higher end cereals were up high, where adults are going to see it. When I saw this, I thought, there's no, that can't be true. I'm gonna check this out. So the next time I went to the store with my mom, I looked, and sure enough, it was exactly that way. And to my knowledge, it's still that way because it works. The point that I'm trying to make here is that when you go to the store to buy some food, that product is there to be sold to you. The company trying to sell you a product is there to sell you a product. And yes, some companies are more noble than others, and some care more about the ingredients that they put in there, but that isn't always the case. More often than should be the case, and the case should be zero, this should never happen, there are things put into foods that has no business being in our bodies. Absolutely no business whatsoever. My wife and I have had the same mattress for going on 10 years at this point, and it's time to get a new one. We went to a higher-end mattress shop around where we live to find out how much a mattress runs these days, and it really depends. You could get something that's technically a mattress for under $50 probably, a blow-up air mattress at your local Walmart. Or you can get something like this. This mattress right here is $315,000. I'm sorry. sorry, that's a little shy. It's more like $316,000 plus there's probably tax on there. And ladies and gentlemen, that is not even the top of the line. No, no, no. This one here actually is nearly $700,000. This mattress here, this place to sleep at night, is more expensive than many places that people are living in right now. Most places in the world, actually. And if you're wondering why that bed is so expensive, well, that one in particular probably has a lot of bells and whistles that are not really necessary. But to get a good quality, a really good quality with quality material bed, you're going to be looking at thousands of dollars. Yes, multiple thousands of dollars. Because as with everything in life, it turns out, the more you learn about something, the more complicated it gets. Right here, what you're seeing is the creation of a mattress that is called a Vi-spring mattress. There are all these springs within it, 1,600, I believe, 1,500, something like that. And this is handmade. They take all of these coils, all these springs that, depending on what kind of mattress you get, is made from virgin steel, meaning it's never been used for anything else, meaning it doesn't have the memory of being used for anything else. The springs have been made specifically for this mattress, and they're shaped in this way so that they last their tension longer than others. This is all stuff that I learned when shopping for a mattress. And then here we'll see the horsehair and the wool that they've got on there, and they've got people hand tussing it, I think is what it's called, where they really make sure that it's all evenly distributed so that you get an even night's sleep, so there's not a big old clump over here or a big old clump over here. All of this work, all of this craftsmanship to make a bed, make a thing that you sleep on, which is a good portion of our lives, about a third of our lives is spent sleeping, is done by expert craftsmen that know what they're doing. And yes, that costs money. Here, this guy is making a knife out of 300 different calligraphy nibs. He's taken all these pin nibs, melted them down, smelted them, maybe, I don't know all that much about knife making, pounded them into this shape, and then he forms it into a blade, and shortcut, I'm going to show you what it looks like. It's actually stunning. After this whole process, he does whatever it is he's doing here. I'm sure it has some sort of name, and then you can see the pattern of this thing. That's all these nibs, these calligraphy nibs that he's pounded into this blade, and it gives this incredible pattern here. But that takes time, that takes craftsmanship, that takes skill and dedication to learn how to do that. But the easy option is to go on Amazon, look for something that's got a bunch of good reviews and hit buy, and it's shipped to your door 24, 48 hours later. There you go, bada bing, bada boom, you got yourself a blade, and yeah, probably cut stuff. But learning about something, really spending the time to get a greater appreciation for things, will help you understand what that thing is meant for, help you understand where this thing excels. The point to all of this is that Bitcoin is just one more thing like food, like bedding, like boots, like clothing, like knives, like music. You can go and listen to some guy on a Discord channel or a Telegram thing or an airdrop this or that tell you about how this crypto thing, that big bob, blig, blig, whatever, is going to make you rich in the next 24 hours. That's the easy route. The more difficult route is to spend some time researching what these different things are. Who is the person behind this project? What do they stand to gain if you spend $100, $1,000, $10,000 on their funky monkey project? How about Bitcoin? What is that? And if you go down the rabbit hole to really understand what Bitcoin is, how it's decentralized, how it has a supply cap, how it has no issuer, there's no pre-mine, there's no ICO, like certain other well-known projects out there where the founders got something like 70% of the initial supply, that it's actually quite simple. And that's the case with most real things. If you're looking into a bed and they say, trust us that it's the best one, but they can't tell you what's actually in it, don't trust them. If you're looking into boots and they say, trust us that we have the best, most comfortable shank in the world, ask them what it's made of. And if they can't tell you if it's steel, plastic, or cork, then they probably don't know what they're talking about. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, then it means that you haven't spent a whole bunch of time looking into boots like I have. But this is all to say that Bitcoin is difficult at first glance, and everything else is far more easy at first glance. But after some research, you realize that Bitcoin is really quite simple, and everything else is extremely complicated.